Hollow Knight came out around 2017, and while I didn't get around to playing it until around 2022, it has always been one of my favorite games ever since I picked it up. So you'd imagine my surprise when earlier this year, Silksong was announced, and not even a couple months later, the release date was revealed being September 4th. Not only that, but when the game actually came out, it was only $20, which is an absolute steal. But we'll get more into that later. I want to talk about my experience playing Silksong and what I like and don't like about the game. So, spoiler warning to everyone, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. Peace. This first segment is what is personally my favorite thing in gaming, which is the bosses. In gaming, whether or not a game has a good boss lineup could make or break the player experience and cause good or bad feedback. My favorite boss in this game by far has to be Widow. The attacks are well choreographed, and the smash of the bell is oddly satisfying. I also really like the theme of this boss, a spider nesting and trapping a town of victims in its web, sort of placing a curse upon the town. The arena was also pretty cool, and funnily enough, I guessed early on in my playthrough that one of the bell rooms would end up being an arena. Now, there are a lot of bosses I could talk about, such as Fourth Chorus, Morwing. Both lace fights were pretty cool. Tribio, First Sinner, Last Judge, and even the final boss, Grandmother Silk, was some of the peakest of fights ever. Now, I could talk about these bosses all day, but it would drag on the video for a long time. But there is one boss that I really want to talk about because of how much its story interests me. Seth. Seth is a random mini-boss that can be found in a secret area inside the Grand Gate, and Seth is not much of a fight. He's nothing to really write home about, but the story behind Seth is what interests me so much. Seth is actually a real young man who passed away from a disease that I have no idea what is. And when asked what he wanted for a wish or whatever, he asked to meet with Team Cherry, the creators of his favorite game, Hollow Knight. And Team Cherry ended up meeting with Seth and asked him to draw them a secret boss for their new upcoming game, Silksong. And while Silksong didn't come out years later, and Seth is no longer with us today, his personal boss design lives in Silksong. And while this boss is not much of importance when it comes to the story or just everything else, the grand scheme of things, it's still amazing to see how Team Cherry truly cares about their community and how Seth is truly a monument just to display that. Now, other than what I've talked about so far, these bosses are absolutely amazing, being rich with story, design, beautiful music, and crazy attacks and animations that left me breathless. Not only this, but the bosses are difficult, yet fair and fun, and that's not something you see in most games today. Fun. If there's anything to take away from this segment, I'd say enjoy the bosses. Have fun with them. Don't see them as frustrating obstacles, but more as fun, engaging fights that test you, because these are some absolutely breathtaking bosses, and I truly think that Team Cherry did some great work here. Another very important piece in all of gaming is the environments. These environments are what have the most influence in a game on the way we interpret the stories and ideas seen throughout. Bellheart is one of my favorite areas because there's this huge contrast between before and after beating the main boss of the area. In the before, Bellheart is this sad, cursed, lifeless town, townfolk strung up like puppets. And after is a completely different picture. The mood suddenly shifts, the town feels more bustling and colorful, and there's this one NPC that just walks around and sings, and it's just overall likable. Bellheart's demeanor completely changes after beating Widow, and it just shows how much you as a player have an effect on the world throughout the story. And Greymoor is a completely different story. It's drowsy and dark, the sky is cluttered in mist, and the place feels like sad, but done right. And let me explain. It's not bland, but this area has a navy bluish gradient to it that makes it resemble a form of bland that is less of nothingness and more of a plain sadness. Greymoor, in my opinion, is desolate and sadness in a level done right. Now, the last place I want to talk about is the Citadel. This is where you spend most of your time in Act 2, and now the Citadel is interesting to me because it's this one place that is brought up so much in the game. It's said by the lower bugs that the Citadel is like this sort of haven or final destination that they're all trying to get to. But if you've played the game, you'd know that this isn't the case. The place feels quiet, old, and trashed, and it's here where we get a taste of what the lower bugs describe as haven, and soon we'll realize is not. Like with the bosses, there is so many areas in this game to touch on, and I mean, look at this map. There's a lot of areas here, like Shellwood, Deep Docks, Blasted Steppes, Mount Fae, and even the hellscape that is Biowater. Ugh. The point is, Silksong has amazing level design, and you can see the obvious love that Team Cherry has put into each and every one of these levels. In this last segment, we're going to talk about the combat. But first, I want to talk about the ability system. Now trust me when I say this, explaining the ability system will make everything else about the combat make way more sense. With Silksong, we are introduced to the new crest system. Throughout the game, you can go through these temples and bunkers to unlock these crests. These crests allow you to switch up your attacks, attack animations, and most importantly, your heal spell. Your heal spell can be changed in many different concepts with these different crests, from being in a state of rage and being able to regain health from attacks, to sprouting roots and stealing the lives from your enemies. These are just 2 out of 8 crests in the game. Each crest also modifies your attacks and attack animations, with the most drastic change being the pogo and attack speed. Now that I've explained the crest, I want to speak on the actual combat. I really like what they did with the game, where they placed multiple unique abilities throughout the world that you could completely miss if you're not careful. These abilities are swappable, which can be useful for certain builds, and even one of the crests can hold up to 3 abilities. Overall, the combat is pretty cool, and keeps a lot of the tension while being extremely overpowered when used to its potential. One of the other things about these crests is the tools they can hold. Most crests can hold around 1 to 2 tools, and these are usually projectiles and trinkets used to deal heavy damage. There's even a crest that is based around tools and replaces the heal with a reload of said tools. There's also the blue tools that are usually just support tools that give you effects and attributes, like allowing you to have 1 extra heart, or even making you explode when you heal. There are a wide variety of different builds and combinations you can make with the amount of tools and support tools and crests you have at your disposal throughout this game. The combat in Silksong is way more expansive than Hollow Knight, and is also easily learnable, and it's not too hard to get the hang of things. The combat is way more diverse, and I can see a lot of people running their own builds to keep up with the game's difficulty. I know that throughout this entire video, I have been glazing Team Cherry in the work that they have done with Silksong. But it is definitely deserved, as this game is amazing. So good to the point where other devs and companies were furious when the game came out to only be $20. There's still a lot of things that I have yet to do and explore in this game, and I still have a couple of side bosses and also the secret Act 3 that I need to get to, so who knows, I might make a whole nother video just talking about that. And while we're talking about things I haven't done, there's still many crucial parts about this game and things that I have not mentioned in this video, such as the music and the NPCs, or even the fact that this game, unlike Hollow Knight, has a whole quest system. And by the way, I just want to mention with the music, I have used most of the music from the game in this video, and half of the songs that I have played here are from the game. Silksong is truly an amazing masterpiece, and I'm so happy we've gotten some of the best games this year, and I cannot wait to see how Silksong fends off in the Game of the Year awards. With that, I also want to talk about something other than Silksong, which is how much I would appreciate it if you liked and subscribed, because I really do want to continue talking about games that I like on here, and I hope you feel the same way. And anyways, thanks for watching. Peace.